They say dreams change as we grow older, but Raine's dream never changed. It was always her. Kaisha, the girl who made her believe that love could be both a wish and a prayer. Raine had always known what she wanted in life. Not fame, not wealth, not even a fairy tale ending. She only wanted to be loved by one person, and that person was Kaisha. They met in college during a time when Raine was still figuring herself out. Kaisha was a burst of sunlight, confident, warm, with a smile that could make the coldest heart soften. Raine, on the other hand, was quiet, calculated, and cautious when it came to her emotions. But Kaisha, she made her want to take risks. "What's your biggest dream?" Kaisha once asked her, one lazy afternoon as they sat under a tree on campus grounds. Raine didn't answer right away. She watched the way the wind brushed Kaisha's hair, the way her laughter carried in the air like music. She thought about how her dream wasn't something you could buy or earn, and with a small, almost shy smile, Raine finally said, "To be loved by you." Kaisha laughed then, thinking it was a joke. But Raine wasn't joking. She never was. Years passed, and their friendship grew deeper, but Raine's feelings remained locked inside her. Kaisha went through relationships, boys who didn't know how to love her enough, who broke her heart one way or another. Each time, Raine was there to pick up the pieces, silently wishing Kaisha would see that the love she was searching for had always been right in front of her. One rainy evening, Kaisha showed up at Raine's apartment, drenched and crying. She had just ended another relationship. Raine wrapped her in a towel, made her tea, and sat beside her on the couch. "Why is it so hard to find someone who'll stay?" Kaisha whispered, her voice breaking. Raine wanted to scream, "I would stay. I have always stayed." But instead, she reached for Kaisha's hand, holding it tightly. Kaisha looked at her then, eyes glistening, not just from tears, but from something else. Something Raine couldn't quite read. For a moment, Raine thought Kaisha might have finally realized it, that maybe finally, the girl she had loved for so long could see her the same way. But before Kaisha could say anything, Raine's phone buzzed, shattering the moment like glass. Raine had waited years. She could wait a little longer. After all, her dream hadn't changed, because all she ever wanted was Kaisha. The days after that rainy night felt different. Kaisha had stayed over, sleeping on Raine's couch with a blanket Raine had tucked around her. When morning came, they had breakfast together like it was the most natural thing in the world. Kaisha sitting in one of Raine's oversized shirts, Raine stealing glances while pretending to be busy with the coffee. It should have been just another moment between friends. But Raine couldn't shake the weight of that almost confession from her mind. The way Kaisha's gaze lingered, the softness in her voice, the way their hands had fit so naturally together. One afternoon, Raine was at her desk, sketching designs for a client. She worked as a freelance illustrator when her phone lit up. "Kaisha, are you busy? I need to get out of the house." Minutes later, they were driving aimlessly with the windows down, music filling the silence between them. Kaisha had her head leaned back, eyes closed, wind playing with her hair. "You ever feel like you're just waiting for your life to start?" Kaisha said suddenly. Raine's hands tightened around the steering wheel. "Yes, every day." waiting for you to see me." But she only replied, "Maybe your life has already started. You just don't see it yet." Kaisha turned to her, a small smile forming. "Maybe. Or maybe I'm just waiting for the right person to make it worth living." The words sat between them, heavy, electric. That night, Raine found herself lying awake, replaying the conversation over and over. She wanted so badly to believe that Kaisha was talking about her. But hope was dangerous. It could give you wings, but it could also make the fall so much worse. She told herself not to overthink, and yet, a week later, Kaisha invited her to a small rooftop party a friend was hosting. Raine didn't want to go. Crowds weren't her thing, but Kaisha begged, saying she didn't want to be alone. Raine didn't expect to see Kaisha laughing with someone else, a tall woman with easy charm and a smile that seemed to claim Kaisha's attention effortlessly. Something twisted in Raine's chest. She stayed in the corner, nursing a drink, pretending not to watch. But every laugh, every touch, every glance Kaisha gave that woman felt like a reminder. Maybe she had been wrong all along. Kaisha found her later that night, away from the crowd, sitting by the railing with the city lights behind her. "You disappeared," Kaisha said softly. "Just needed air," Raine replied, forcing a smile. Kaisha stepped closer, searching her face. "You okay?" Raine wanted to say no. She wanted to tell her everything. But instead she looked out at the city and whispered, "I'm fine. I'm always fine." Kaisha didn't believe her. Raine could see it in her eyes, but neither of them pushed further. That night, Raine realized something. She could wait, but she didn't know how much longer her heart could take it. 2 days after the rooftop party, Raine was working late when she heard a knock at her apartment door. It was past midnight. When she opened it, Kaisha was there, hair messy, sweater too big, eyes red like she'd been crying. "Can I stay here tonight?" Kaisha's voice was barely above a whisper. Raine stepped aside immediately. She didn't ask questions, didn't demand explanations. Kaisha walked in, dropped her bag on the couch, and collapsed into Raine's arms. She didn't let go for a long time. They ended up sitting on the floor by the window, the city lights spilling into the room. Kaisha had her knees drawn up, Raine beside her, silent but steady. "I'm tired, Raine," Kaisha murmured, "of giving so much to people who never stay, of hoping they'll see me the way I want to be seen." Raine's throat tightened. "I see you. I've always seen you. Then maybe..." Raine's voice shook. "You're looking at the wrong people." Kaisha turned to her slowly, eyes searching, locking onto hers in a way that made Raine's heart pound. The air between them felt charged, like the space was too small for the both of them, like one wrong move would shatter everything or change it forever. "And who should I be looking at, Raine?" Raine froze. Words crowded in her chest, begging to be let out. "Me. Always me." But she hesitated. And in that hesitation, Kaisha leaned in. Not enough to close the gap, but enough that Raine could feel her breath, warm and unsteady. Her hand brushed Raine's cheek, lingering for a second that felt like forever. Then she pulled back, looking away. "Forget it," Kaisha whispered. "It's late." That night, Raine lay awake again. This time with her heart beating so loud she was afraid. It might give her away. She didn't know if Kaisha had almost kissed her or if it was just her imagination. But she knew one thing. Whatever this was between them, it was growing. And sooner or later, it would demand an answer. 2 weeks passed since that almost moment. Raine told herself to be patient, to let things happen when they were meant to. But every time she saw Kaisha, the unspoken words between them became heavier. One evening, Raine was finishing a commission when her phone rang. It was Kaisha. Her voice was shaky. "Raine, I'm outside. Can you come down?" When Raine stepped out of her building, she found Kaisha standing in the drizzle, holding a small paper bag. "You'll catch a cold," Raine said, rushing toward her. "Then come stand here with me," Kaisha replied, smiling faintly. They stood under the faint glow of the streetlight, the rain falling softly around them. Kaisha took a deep breath, her eyes never leaving Raine's. "I'm done, Raine." Raine frowned. "Done with what?" "Done running from the truth. Done pretending I don't know who's been here for me all along." She handed Raine the paper bag. Inside was a small notebook, its pages filled with messy handwriting. Raine flipped it open and froze. Every page was about them. Memories. Moments. Little details only. Kaisha would remember. The last page read, "My dream? To be loved by you, too." Raine's chest tightened. "Kaisha." Kaisha stepped closer, the rain dampening her hair. "You told me once a long time ago what your dream was. I laughed because I didn't know what to say. But I know now." Her hand reached for Raine's. "If your dream is still the same, I want to make it come true." Raine's breath hitched, and this time she didn't hesitate. She pulled Kaisha into her arms, the rain falling harder now, but neither of them cared. "It's always been you," Raine whispered against her hair. Kaisha smiled, leaning back just enough to press her lips to Raine's. It was slow, certain, like all the years of waiting had led to this exact moment. When they finally pulled away, Kaisha laughed softly. "Looks like we both got our dream." And under the rain, with Kaisha's hand in hers, Raine knew she would never have to dream alone again. Some dreams stay with us forever, and no matter how long we wait, they never fade. For Raine, it was Kaisha, her best friend, her safe place, her home. Years of silence, of almost confessions, of being the one who stayed. All of it led to that one night when the rain finally washed away the distance between them. Maybe that's the beauty of love. It arrives when it's meant to, not when we force it. And when it finally comes, all the waiting, all the heartache, suddenly makes sense. If Raine and Kaisha's journey touched your heart today, I hope it reminds you that your own story is still being written, and that your dreams, no matter how impossible they may seem, are worth holding on to. Thank you for listening to All I Ever Wanted Was You. If you felt their love, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss more GXG love stories that will make your heart ache and heal.